This is how to learn lessons from watching TV. So, the story of my life has been watching a whole lot of TV and reading a whole lot as well. But I watched a lot of TV when I was a little kid. And I always learned so much about life. And what's interesting is I didn't learn what the average person learns, like fancy cars and like how to behave kind of stuff, because I don't really believe, I mean, it's all scripted. So and it never totally matched my world of reality that I was seeing in real life. So to me, it was always fake. But there are so many other things that are beneath the surface of TV and movies that are there if you pay close attention. So that's always how I watched TV and movies growing up. I picked up these little tiny things that seemingly would have nothing to do with the thing itself. The reason I'm saying this is because I've been working on something for the past few hours and really looking at the things that we attract into our lives. And all week, as I've been following the things that are not wanted and the path that it continuously leads to based on my reaction, and then following the things that are wanted and the additional path that that leads to based on your reaction, I'm learning a lot and really exploring or kind of like playing with a little bit and understanding the law of attraction. So it's really interesting. It's like, so I'm realizing today, and I kind of have known this, but I'm realizing it on a deeper level. Bad things, or the so-called bad thing, is number one, it's something that you attract into your life. And number two, it's an opportunity for growth and development. It's an opportunity to be stronger. It's an opportunity to be better. And earlier this week, I was watching a sci-fi show called Loki. And it's part of like Avengers spin-off. And I love sci-fi. And I haven't watched TV in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. I don't watch TV that much. And my daughter asked me if I wanted to watch Loki, and I'm like, I guess. I don't know too much about the character. I don't remember the Avengers because it started getting so like out of control with episodes, and I'm like, I don't have all this time for TV. Anyway, I said, why not? I haven't been doing anything lately. So I said, let me watch some Loki. So Loki is like the resident bad guy, but he's the kind of bad guy that's so good at being the bad guy that you actually like this guy. And so I was talking to her about the talent that some actors have when they're playing the bad guy, because we're supposed to like love the Avengers who are here to save us, and we're supposed to not like Loki who's here to like cause misery and destruction to everyone and take over the world, right? But he's such a good actor that people want to see more. So it's this interesting contrast that takes place. But yeah, so I like him as well. And so now he has his own TV show because he's just that good. So in the Loki TV series, it mentions something because he's going through his own emotional journey for whatever. And it mentions something because he is here to like always take over the world, and he always fails because the Avengers come in and save the day. So he's really like, like this is like a recurring pattern, and he's exploring his life a bit, and he's kind of in like a jail kind of thing. And they're explaining to him that you are here for a purpose. And they're not explaining it nicely. They're explaining it in like a flippant kind of way, like kind of dismissive to him, because he takes his path very seriously, as we all should. Anyway, they explain to him that his purpose in trying to take over the world is to drive others to be their greatest version. And they show this scene where he's like, doing his Loki thing and being really mean, and they show all of that. And then they kind of zoom in on the Avengers all standing in a group, back to back, all ready and on alert, waiting for the Loki to arrive. And you get the sense that they are these, because they all have these regular human lives, and then they step into their power and become superhuman, right? And it kind of like zooms in on them doing that as the guy is talking. And I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And that's really true. It's kind of like, if there's like a bully, you have an opportunity to shy away and run away from a bully, or you have an opportunity to stand and fight. You even have an opportunity to take your time to build up strength and muscle and then come back and fight. There was a TV commercial about this little boy that was being picked on or something, and then every day he started taking karate lessons or something, and then, you know, it didn't end well for the bullies at the end of the day. So either way, the point is this kind of contrast shows us what we do want, it shows us what we don't want, and then it can drive us to be the best version of ourselves. It makes us stronger in the process. That's why we have an expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So all of this came out of my journaling this evening/morning, because you have like some little annoying things. I mean, all is well, all is fine, but little annoying life things that kind of creep up. And so far over the weeks, I've been following, like, it's not happy for me, but I'm like, I knew I invited this in. I knew I invited that in. Like, I can follow the path based on my own reactions to things, of how it's like kind of like gaining momentum or escalate, like you keep just attracting negativity if you think something negative. If you give it your energy, if you give it your attention, then it just, will keep adding little other annoying little nuisances. So that's what's been happening. And I'm sitting here writing tonight, and I'm like, and I'm starting to get angry, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I even getting angry? This is a relatively small thing. It's not as anywhere near as bad as it was last time. I have full control over this whole thing. So I just made out a list of things to do. Bam, 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 bam. And I immediately started feeling so much stronger, so much more empowered. It's my life. I can design it any way I want. And I don't have to let any major or minor mishap infuse my vibration. I mean, it started to, but then I'm like, this is now. No, I've been through this before. Tap into some of that strength, tap into some of that knowledge. So this is a really interesting ride, and I've been kind of examining my energy, because I've been feeling, I don't know how to explain it, feeling like I'm not really getting anything done, or feeling like, I guess, not even demotivated. I've just been like this in-between zone. I haven't wanted to do anything creative or anything. And that's fine, I'm just kind of like taking it as it is. I'm resisting the urge to fill in my own grid. And I was thinking today, like, between the urge to fill in your own grid and the urge to follow your highest desire, it is a fine line. So it's definitely something that has to be felt and examined each day. But I'm having fun with this. I This might sound like a crazy video if you don't know what the law of attraction is, but I am having so much fun with this. And it's so interesting, because it's like God has not just left us here abandoned. We have so many things that are within our bodies, even how our bodies work externally, that I started studying last year. We just have forgotten how these things work. And so it's just an interesting and a very beautiful journey, because it just connects me even stronger to God and to my higher self, and to all of humanity. And as I see myself pulling away from like the people at work and mainstream society, I guess, understanding yesterday, Thursday, which is really today, because it's taken me this long to make this video, really beginning to understand that I am moving away. And the people are wonderful. The people are lovely. They're hardworking. They try their best. They are truly some inspiring people that work in emergency rooms. And I'm including myself in that, by the way. Yes, we are the shit. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of flexibility that's involved. But it's really like nothing you've ever seen. The camaraderie and everything is just quite amazing for a work environment, which is why I kind of like working in ERs, because you don't have a choice. Oh my gosh, I'm just now linking this with this. I was talking to one of the new hires today. You really don't have a choice when you work in this kind of environment. You can't shut your doors. You can't say, hey, we're full, go somewhere else. You can't do that due to a law called EMTALA, Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. So we have to keep the doors open. You have to keep taking people in no matter how full it gets. And it can get pretty full. No matter how crazy the environment gets, I always call it organized chaos because I realize that to patients it looks like everybody's running in different directions, but there's actually a structure underlying everything. It just looks like a hot mess on the surface, but it's truly just an amazing thing that all of these challenges that we get angry about and that we feel, they're just like polarizing, like, grr, why is this happening? And it's like it's happening to drive you to something better, either to drive you away from something you don't want, which also at the same time drives you toward something you do want, or it drives you to be emotionally stronger, mentally stronger, even physically stronger sometimes. So this is just this wonderful revelation because I've been really thinking over the past few days, like, I'm not really doing anything, and I also don't feel like doing anything. How long is this going to last? Anyway, I am coming out of it. And I am beginning to see that it's time to start moving again. And what that means is my body is starting to become more energized. At this time and in this moment, which is kind of surprising for me, but it's beginning to become more energized. I can feel it happening. So it's interesting when you just kind of sit back and let the universe do what it's going to do, and let God take shape in your life how it's going to be, instead of trying to force everything, which I know that like the back of my hand. I've done that for most of my life. But this new way of being, working in harmony with the laws of the universe instead of working against it, it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. And I'm just very thankful that I'm in this position. And I'm thankful that I have allowed in my life's journey to bring me to this point today. I have allowed life to train me in many ways. And at every opportunity that I am aware of, I've allowed life to train me. And it's not always pretty. It's not always fun, but if you want to be better, then you have to commit to being humble enough to acknowledge where you need growth and development, and stepping into that new place of growth and development. I mean, it does get easier. Half a year later, when you learn about the law of attraction and how the planet works with our bodies, which God has designed, it's just a beautiful and amazing thing. Anyway, I'm like on a high from like little minor annoyances. So this is amazing. Anyway, that's it. I don't even think get to bed. It's time to wake up. My alarm went off. I'm like, oh really? Been up all night reading and writing and contemplating, and anyway, it led me to this very beautiful place where I am in today, and I feel like super empowered, supercharged, and I'm so glad it's Friday, and I'm so glad I'm off Monday, and I'm ready to get to work. I already know what my first plan of action will be, so gotta go get to it. Have a good night. This is Cherokee. Make your habits strong / law of attraction, apparently is what it morphed into. Have a good night.